Hello, readers, and welcome back to Quarantine Literacy. I'm going to warn you in advance. Spring has sprung in Northern California, and my nails are perpetually dirty. Perpetually means always and forever. So you're just going to see, because I'm doing so much gardening and I'm like hurting myself too. So I apologize in advance if when I'm holding up these beautiful books, my nails are just filled with dirt. It's because I'm gardening like every day. So this week last week we did a character study. This week we're doing an author study. We are going to look at the books of Andrea Beaty. And she has done this incredible series. All of these children who are very remarkable children. And we're going to talk about making connections between books and just think about what she's trying to do as an author this week. So we're going to start with her first book, which is called Iggy Peck, Architect. Now this is not, there's like a plastic sleeve that goes over this, but my daughter likes to take those off, so you can't see the actual cover as it was drawn. So I'll show you, I think it maybe looked more like this. Iggy Peck, Architect. It's written by our author, Andrea Beaty, and it's illustrated by David Roberts. Young Iggy Peck is an architect, and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour, with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed. "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. Oh, so they're used diapers, you guys. They got poop and peep in them. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn, using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. Look at that. It's remarkable. And his neighbors are like, "Come on, dude. You're getting dirt all over me." When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. Look at this. There's a peach church and an apple, maybe chapel, and then a clay temple. And his parents look very proud, don't they? At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. His father's clapping. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. So you will see this is a repeating character, this Miss Lila Greer, this teacher. She will come back in every book that we are reading for this author study this week. And in fact, pay attention to the faces of the classmates, because these classmates become the main characters of future books. That might seem severe, but she was sincere. For when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height, in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. So she was on a tour when she was in school, and she got lost. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that, above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. So she was kind of traumatized. Look at that silly picture there. And so she, since she got sort of traumatized on the architect's tour, she's like, I hate buildings. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. Look at that. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal How? So she's horrified. She's like, I told you not to build anything, and there you go building something. No, ma'am, Iggy said, his lowered head. His heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now second grade was a bore. After 12 long days had passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Bear River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Lila Greer started to scream, Ah, we're trapped! Oh my, alas, kids, goodbye! Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound, luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was hatching a plan, which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. Who do you think the boy is with the idea? You think it's Iggy Peck, our main character? I think so. When she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces. And on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge dangling from shoestring suspension. So they build, with Iggy's help, a bridge so they could get back across from the island that they were stuck on. Wow. Do you think that this is going to maybe change Miss Lila Greer's opinion of Iggy Peck and maybe architecture in general? Let's see. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. And look at her. She is so impressed and happy. Wow. Now every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker, in t-shirt and sneakers, talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. Well, I just love that book because it has some of the characteristics of a great book in that we see a character face a really big problem, right? Iggy Peck and the whole second grade and Miss Lila Greer face this problem where they're on a field trip and they cross over this bridge, and then the bridge collapses and they have to get back to the other side. But I also love that this book empowers one of the main character, one of the characters, Iggy Peck, based on a character trait of his, right? He's this great architect. That's sort of like the defining thing. That's what he wants to be when he grows up. In fact, it's what he already is. And it utilizes that incredible character trait of being creative and inventive and this incredible architect, this builder. And that's how he solves the problem. Like, he uses his strength to solve that big problem in the book. And it also has another one of my favorite qualities of a good book, which is that we see a character change from beginning to end. So in the beginning of the book, Miss Lila Greer was like, I hate buildings, I hate architecture, I don't see the value in it. And then she changes her mind, right? She does a complete switch from I hate architecture to, wow, I want you to teach it every day in grade 2, Iggy Peck, because I see now that architecture is beautiful and amazing and useful. So we have a beautiful use of a character trait, right? And a strength of the character that we see. And then we have a character that changes from beginning to the end. So since this is an author study, we know that she's using some really great techniques like problem and solution, character change, but also one thing that Andrea Beaty does that I love is that her books all rhyme, or at least this one does, and we'll have to see if the other ones do as well. But did you notice that her books rhyme? The words rhyme. So for example, I'll just read one little section, right? When Iggy was 3, his parents could see, so 3 and see rhyme, right? His unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, right? Chapels and apples rhymes, and temples from modeling clay. So stay and clay rhyme. So she's got this great rhythm to her books because they all rhyme. And I just think that's a really cool thing for an author to do. I also really, really love the pictures in this book. So as we keep going, I know it's the same illustrator in all the books. So you'll see the beautiful images and pictures as we continue with our author study. All right, my friends, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, bye.